Yo, 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 what's good? It's just boxing back again. I want to talk about Jack Johnson, um, who was the first African American world heavyweight boxing champion from 1908 to 1915. Let's get to it. His name is John Arthur Johnson. He was born March 31st, 1878, and he died June 10th, 1946. His nickname was the Galveston Giant. He was an American boxer who, at the height of the Jim Crow era, became the first African American world heavyweight boxing champion from 1908 to 1915. Among the period's most dominated champions, Johnson remained a boxing legend. With his 1910 fight against James J. Jeffries, dubbed the fight of the century. According to filmmaker Ken Burns, for more than 13 years, Jack Johnson was the most famous and the most notorious African American on earth. He transcended boxing. He became part of the culture and the history of racism in America. In 1912, Johnson opened a successful and luxurious black and tan desegregated restaurant and nightclub, which in part was run by his wife, a white woman. Major newspaper of the time claimed that Johnson was attacked by the government only after he became famous as a black man married to a white woman, and most linked to other white women. Johnson was arrested on charges of violating the Mann Act, forbidding one to transport a woman across state lines for immoral purposes. A racially motivated charge that embroiled him in controversy for his relationships, including marriages with white women. There were also allegations of domestic violence, sentenced to a year in prison. Johnson fled the country and fought boxing matches abroad for 7 years until 1920, when he served his sentence at the federal penitentiary at Leavenworth. Johnson was pardoned by President Donald Trump in May 2008, 105 years after his conviction. Johnson continued paying fights for many years and operated several other businesses, including lucrative endorsement deals. Johnson died in a car crash on June 10th, 1946, at the age of 68. He's buried at Graceland Cemetery in Chicago, Illinois. I'll talk a little bit about his early life. Johnson was born the third child of 9 and the first son of Henry and Tina Johnson, two former slaves who worked blue-collar jobs as a janitor and dishwasher. His father, Henry, served as civilian teamster of the Union 38 Colored Infantry. Jackson once said his father was the most polite physical specimen that he had ever seen, although his father was only 5'5" and left with atrophied. Oh my goodness, I didn't ruin that word. Atrophied. Right leg from his service in the war. His early boxing career, Johnson made his debut as a professional boxer on November 5th, 1898 in Galveston, Texas. He knocked out Charlie Brooks in the second round of a 15-round bout for what was billed as the Texas State middleweight title. In his third pro fight on May 8, 1899, he battled Klondike John W. Haynes, an African-American heavyweight known as the Black Hercules in Chicago. Klondike, so called as he was considered a ratty, like the gold in the Klondike, who had declared himself the black heavyweight champion, won a technical knockout in the 5th round of the scheduled 6-rounder. The two fighters met again in 1900, with the first contest resulting in a draw, as both fighters were on their feet at the end of 20 rounds. Wow. 20 rounds, bro. Can you imagine fighters fighting 20 rounds, man. Come on, that's outlawed. Johnson was the second fight. Johnson won the second fight by TKO when Klondike refused to come out on the 14th round. Man, Johnson did not claim Klondike unrecognized title. Top contender. Let's talk about this top contender. Johnson beat former black heavyweight champion Frank Childs on October 25th, 1902. Childs had twice won the black heavyweight title and continued to claim himself the true black champ despite having lost his title in a bout with George Byers. And then after retaking the title from Byers, losing it again to Denver Ed Martin, he still made Prentice to being the black champ and claimed the unrecognized black heavyweight title as well. Johnson won by TKO in the 12th round of the scheduled 20-rounder. When Childs' second signal he couldn't go on. He claimed he had dislocated his elbow. The defeat by Johnson forever ended Childs' pretensions to be the black heavyweight crown. Wow. That's crazy. See, this is why, I study and read about boxing history, because it's so in depth. I like to thank Scrapbook Boxing, for his wisdom and his intelligence and his boxing supreme knowledge of the sport of boxing. He inspired me to do research on the history of boxing, and I thank him for that. This is the world colored heavyweight champ. By 1903, though Johnson's official record showed him with 9 wins against 3 losses, 5 draws, and 2 no contests, he had won at least 50 fights against both white and black opponents. Wow, that's crazy, man. Johnson won his first title on February 3rd, 1903, beating Denver Ed Martin on points in a 20-round match for the World Colored Heavyweight Championship. Johnson held the title until it was vacated when he won the World Heavyweight title from Tommy Burns in Sydney, Australia on Boxing Day, 1908. His reign of 2,151 days was the third longest in the 60-year long history of the colored heavyweight title. Only Harry Willis at 3,103 days and Peter Jackson 3,041 days held the title longer. A 3-time colored heavyweight champion, Willis held the title for a total of, oh my goodness, bro. Man, 3,351 days, man. That's crazy. Man. Back in them days, man, I know they had to fight. Man, it's not, I know it's not how it is now, because boxers now, they fight, one, maybe twice a year. Back then, they wasn't making nowhere near the type of money they're making today. But anyway, Johnson defended the colored heavyweight title 17 times, which was second only to the 26th time Willis defended the title. While colored champ, he defeated ex-colored champ Denver Ed Martin and Frank Childs again, and beat future colored heavyweight champ Sam McVeigh 3 times and Sam Langford. Wow. Oh, Sam Langford. That name sounds so familiar. The great Kurt Anderson, aka Kurt Sugar, talks about him all the time. I'm gonna do a video on him too. He beat Langford on points in a 15 round and never gave him another shot at the title, either when he was colored champ or the world heavyweight champion. Here we go. Johnson, Jeanette, and Langford. Johnson fought Joe Lynette a total of 7 times, all during his reign as a colored champ before he became the world heavyweight champion, winning 4 times and drawing twice. 3 of the victories and 1 draw were newspaper decisions. In this first match in 1905, they had fought to a draw. But in their second match on November 25th, 1905, Johnson lost as he was disqualified in the second round of his scheduled 6-round fight. Johnson continued to claim the title because of the disqualification. After Johnson became the first African American heavyweight champion of the world on December 26, 1908, his world colored heavyweight championship was vacated. Jeanette fought Sam McVeigh for the title in Paris on February 20th, 1909, and was beaten, but later took the title from McVeigh in a 49 round. Man, stop. But later took the title from McVeigh in a 49 round bout on April 17th of that year in Paris for a $6,000 purse. Bro, this amazes me, man. But Sam Langford subsequently claimed the title during Jeanette's reign after Johnson refused to defend the World Heavyweight Championship against him. 18 months later, Jeanette lost the title to Langford. During his reign as world champ, Johnson never again fought Jeanette despite numerous challenges and avoided Langford, who won the colored title a record 5 times in 1906. Jack Johnson fought Sam Langford. Langford took several punishment and was knocked down 3 times. However, he lasted the 15-round distance. On November 27, 1945, Jack Johnson finally stepped back into the ring with Joe Jeanette. The 67-year-old Johnson squared off against the 66-year-old Jeanette in an exhibition held at New York City rally to sell war bonds. Fellow former colored heavyweight champ Harry Willis also participated in the exhibition. Man, you got to be kidding me, bro. Oh, man, that's funny. That's funny. And they 67 and 66. They don't sit their old butt down.